All right, what's good, YouTube? So I got a little bit of a different topic today. So today I'm going to be rating Uno's most recent album. I've been listening to it for a little minute, just kind of got a good opinion on it, and I think I'll do more of these little album ratings because I enjoy doing this, and I've had Patreon supporters tell me that they liked it too. So I'll do that, and people from YouTube also asking for it and other media platforms. So I'm gonna go ahead and kind of go through this. So. First off, somewhere I saw, I think he may have posted it where he said this is going to be like his last album or something like that. I don't know how true that is or how accurate or anything like that. But hopefully it's not. I do enjoy his music. We've had our differences within the music industry, but I overall enjoy his music. Um, I'll kind of give a bit of a critique on him as an artist a little bit in the album, and then my kind of thoughts and opinions on the album and using some other things that were surrounded about the album. So to kind of begin with, Uno as an artist, I think is very creative. He's a really good artist. I enjoy his music. I like his cadence, I like his flow and his style of how he does things. I do like his rap style. I like how he can switch it up. One thing I've always liked, because I've always liked him and Fonny as a like a duo. I've always felt like they were like the underground Migos, in my opinion. I wish they would do a lot more together, and nowadays, but they don't for whatever reason. But personally, I always liked the way Uno's bars were because he was like a faster, more fast-paced rapper, while Uno was a more slow-paced rapper. And they would both have like bars that were kind of like hidden bars is the best way I can explain it, where it would be like they say one thing and then you hear it again and be like, oh, that kind of meant two things. You see what I'm saying? But they both were really good at that. But Uno was more of the speed up the beat, and Fonny was more slowing the song down. So I've always kind of liked as a artist, and his flow and his style and the combination of him and Fonny together, and him and a couple other artists, but those two in particular, I always like their flow and their style together. So that's off topic, or that's off the first of the topic. So the next thing I kind of want to talk about is the album itself. So this is Limbus 3. So this is the third one. I've listened to Limbus 1, 2, and 2.5. Those were decent. There's some songs on there that I like, but this one in particular was very different. I like where he was going with this and what he's doing because his this is like he's kind of shifting his style a little bit more. I kind of feel like he's finding more so of the style that he's trying to go for that he's trying to do in the other Limbuses and even Unoverse. I think he's kind of switching it up a little bit from obviously when we first started hearing him on things like stomping them out my Louboutins, like that, those songs like back in the day like that, and what I'm saying, parking lot pimping and stuff like that. It's very different. Now I like both styles very much, obviously, because that's how, kind of the era that I got started listening to him at, like well before, well, it was a little before that. But seeing how he's evolved from that to this is very interesting. Now there was a stage in his career when he was making music where I didn't really like the style of what he was doing like early on because I feel like he kind of switched it up a little too dramatic and a little too drastic. And at first I could tell it was something that he was kind of toying with and kind of playing with. So there's a lot of songs on here that I actually like. This album has 22 songs, right? Yeah, 22 songs. Out of the 22 songs, there's 15 that I have in my personal playlist that I kind of bump, and out of those 15, there's a handful that I really, really like. But I'll go through and give you the list real quick of the ones that I personally like from that album. And it was, I'm not gonna play any of these. I don't want to get a copyright. And it was Do Too Much, Praise God, Pay Up, By Myself, Me Too, Twin Them, Double Thoughts, By Any Means, Take a Trip, Memories, Heathen, Don't Know How It Feels, Cloudy, All In for Life, and Rolling the Dice. So those were the 15 that I enjoyed the most out of this album. So that's a pretty decent amount out of the entire album, right? So overall, I kind of was trying to figure out what I would actually rate this album, and it's kind of hard for me because I like to think of it almost like a literally like a test, right? Because that's essentially what an album is. That's how you want to kind of think about your albums and your projects and tapes and whatnot. You want to think of them as like tests. So when you submit a test, right, you're trying to get a score back. You want to see how good it is. So the person scoring your test or scoring your album is going to be your audience. So you want to see on a range of one from 0 to 100 of what you would score, right? So I've figured out a way that you can figure that out if you're trying to listen to a person album and figure out what would you rate that album. Even if you do like a scale of 1 to 10, or maybe give it A B C D E F, you know what I'm saying, A B C D F rating or whatever the case is. This is the way that I've always done it to kind of really realistically figure out what I would rate somebody's album, because I always had a hard time doing that because I would think of how many songs I like versus how many are on the album, which is kind of what we're going to do, or either how good the beats were. It was different things that played a factor. So the best way that I've always figured it out was um, I took the amount of the songs that I like, and I just kept putting on play or repeat, and then I would put it in a playlist, right? And so I would create that playlist, and then I would see how many are in the playlist once I've really finished listening through the album, and pick the songs out that I like, and left the ones in the album that I don't like, right? So like on Apple Music, I just add the playlist and it shows you the album, but it won't. It'll show you the album like it's in entirety, but it'll show you, which ones you out of the album you have in that playlist, right? So I would take that and I would literally do like when I was a little kid. My mom's actually a teacher. She would give out tests to her students, and however many questions there was, and versus how many answers you got right, you divided that. So you take the number of songs that you liked, and then you divide it by the number of songs that there are. So I did that with this, like, and I've been doing it for a while. So if I like 15 songs out of the 22, right? So it sounds like, okay, I like the album pretty good. It sounds like you give it, a pretty high rating. Well, I wanted to see realistically what does it rate at. So I did that, and the rating that you would get if you divide 15 divided by 22 other songs is a 0.681, right? So that's a 68%. So that's essentially what you would be rating this album. Like I would rate this album as a 68% out of 100. So it's not horrible, it's not bad or anything. It's just to me I guess it would seem like it's just above average. So it started to make me think like, all right, so if I like this many songs out of the 22, it seems like I would like this album. And then I started to kind of analyze it a little bit more and started to think, well, why didn't I like the other songs? And then why do I like the current songs that I actually picked? And so I started to think to myself, all right, the reason I like the current songs are because of the beat selection. The beats were usually pretty good, and then these songs were the best lyrically that I feel like I enjoyed the most. Like as far as because I'm big on beats plus lyrics. Like I just can't have good lyrics and the beat not be good, and I can't have a great beat and it be mediocre lyrics. It has to be a good happy medium of the two, and that's kind of hard to find in the underground scene because you got a lot of people testing stuff, trying new things, or whatever the case may be, and then you just got a bunch of people just putting stuff out there, just be putting it out there. So I kind of, started listening to it and analyzing the songs even more, and I realized the reason I like the songs is more so of the beat selection, the combination of his kind of melodic style and his flow and how he got over it. And I realized that those songs were also the songs that I could catch more of his cadence and more of the verbiage of what he's saying. Because in some of the other songs, it's harder to really like. Sometimes the way he raps in this new type of style, it's hard to catch what he says. So after I started kind of thinking about it, I was like, yeah, that is kind of a solid rating, giving him something like a D, more like not a high F, because it sounds bad when we think about it using the teaching perspective. But I like to look at it on a scale of 0 to 100. 100 being like a Grammy winner or something like that. Him being, around that above 50%, because 50% you would think of like an average person, your average regular everyday somebody just trying to rap. The person down the street, he is definitely slightly above average. He's closer to. At one point in time, I felt like he would have gotten further than that 68%. I think right now where he's at is currently at a 68%, and that kind of makes sense to me, right? So if you want to kind of figure out a more methodic way of figuring out how would you would rate this artist, I would take all his albums and do that same process. So let's say you got 68% on one, 90 on this one, 70 on this, and 42 on that, whatever, and you put it all together and average it out. That's how you could rate that artist. I think that's a good way to kind of analyze it and think about it. Now, my next part of the topic of this is I like this album. I definitely give it something like a 68%, so 70-ish%, somewhere in that range. Out of 100, it's not a bad album. I enjoy a lot of the beats. I enjoy him as an artist. I hope this isn't his last album. I hope he kind of continues and creates music. And those songs that I picked out, I hope that he really branches off and stem from that type of cadence and style. I really enjoyed that. But again, it's a great album. So the next thing it kind of made me start thinking about was that the simple fact that I've never liked when artists put out albums that have such a lengthy amount of songs on there. It takes too long to listen through and go through, and it begins to me personally to be a little bit harder to pick and enjoy the songs because you have so many songs to pick from. So you may not give every song a fair shake. So that's why this is kind of speculatory on my rating because I'm gonna go back and continue to listen to it. I may end up adding a song or two to the playlist, or maybe taking one out and be like, all right, I don't like that one as much as I thought. Right. So what I would do in this type of situation, I don't like when artists put this many songs. I feel like it's kind of gives you too many choices of options. I think had he done what if he would have done something along the lines of me personally, I think having this is enough to have three different projects. I would have done uh albums, but had like seven songs on them each, and then have one that has like a bonus song or eight or something like that. I think yeah, seven song, three with seven, or two with seven, and then one with eight or something like that, right? And then that way, if I kept that same ratio, that's for a twofold reason. So if you have three projects, that'll stretch you out throughout the whole entire year. You can put out a project once every 4 months, like every quarter you can put out a project. You know what I'm saying? So that's how I would do it because this is just one shot, one kill. This is throwing all your bullets all of it at once. And I think what he's trying to do is throw some stuff out there and just make another hit, like make another song. So kind of similar to this one. Like if you look at this, not one of them, you see that this one's got 1.4 million. See, he threw all these songs out there trying to, I feel like, make a hit, which is why all these songs there's like so many of them, and I think it stunts your growth and your plays by having this many songs because it gives me so many different options to play from. Because look at the wide range of playing like 15,000, you got 50,000, 41. And I know songs are going to be different, but if you give people less choice and option, it forces them to continue to listen to it a little bit more. But it also would have broke up his ratio if you think about it. So, for example, if he would have made three projects, right, and I like 15 out of the 22, that means if he did three projects, his ratio, if he spread these out the right way, he'd have like out of 7 and 8 songs on the projects, he'd have like two songs and at most three songs on an album that didn't that wasn't good. So if we look at that ratio, let's see here. Let's say that I like let's use the start with the album that would have eight, right? So let's say I like five songs out of the eight. Or actually, I like let's say I like six songs out of the eight, right? That's a 75%, right? Okay, so that's one album. So we got 75% on one album. Let's say out of the one other song that I've got, I like, I don't know, four songs out of seven. That's 57, right? And then let's say the other one, I like five songs out of the seven. That's 71. So then let's take, well, that's 72. We'll round it up. So 72 plus 75 plus, what was the other one? 57 plus 57 equals 204. Then we divide that by 3 to find the average. Oh, look what his average would have been. His average would have still been 68. That makes sense though. But it would have looked better. That makes sense. I should have known that. His average would still be 68. But either which way, the point in showing you that and splitting it up into three different projects is because it looks better. Because imagine you having one project and you get one. Imagine you have one test and you got a 68 on it, and then you take three tests and you get a 75, a 72, and then you get a 57. Although they average out together to be in the same number, it looks better to have. All right, I put out three different projects, and out of three different projects, two of them did pretty good. Because if we're looking at 50% as being average, your local everyday rapper that isn't doing anything, and you have your 75% and you're 25% higher above that or 22% higher above that, You know what I'm saying? Imagine if I was 25% taller than everybody else on the planet. Imagine if I was 25% richer right now. Imagine if I was 25% better looking, or 25% better in shape, 25% more money in my bank account right now. That's a significant increase based upon what you already have, when he's already have a pretty solid skill set. Even him having that one album that I put rated to make it, I did that on purpose just to kind of make it low on purpose, where the rating was at 57, right? It's still 7% above average. So what if I was 7% smarter than the average person? That's still, you know what I'm saying? That's still an increase that is notable, especially in something like music and having it garnishing attention like this and having people on views. So now let's say but that's based upon what I'm how I view this album after hearing it with all 22 songs on one thing. So again, like I've only listened through it, a couple times and enjoyed it. But imagine if I would have been given less of a choice. So I would have been given just the 7 or 8 songs, and I was forced to listen through those 7 or 8 songs a lot more. I may have, all right, I like the song, or this one grew on me, and my ratios may have changed. The songs that I like that are disliked, I may like 1 or 2 of them now, as opposed to I didn't like them because I didn't get to listen to them. It's like I heard it once or twice, like, all right, yeah, I don't like that. As opposed to if I have 7 songs on one album, I may just hit play on the album, let the whole thing cycle through, and then eventually at some, after a while, it's like, shoot, that song grew on me. I like this whole album. This whole thing is hard. So then it kind of breaks it up. It kind of focuses you in. So that I think what he should have done with this was broke this up into maybe about 2 or 3 projects and put them out. And then like I was telling you again, if you break it up and not put out one big block of content, it'll stretch you out through the year, so it keeps you relevant, keeps you going, and keeps you steady. That was the main thing that I noticed that kind of kept artists uh, alive and kept them relevant. Because if you notice, after artists kind of start get popping and get some attention behind them, they kind of slow down and just kind of like just survive off of what they built and what they got going on, rather than keeping the pace up. Because if you notice, all these artists that I used to work with and things of that nature that I was really hot and heavy with, they've kind of slowed their pace on putting out projects and even working with people. So I think that's part of the reason as to why um, this album is good, but it could be better with a little bit of minor tweaking. I feel like if broke it up into different projects and just kind of continue to work on the style and fine tune. So I hope this isn't his last album, because I enjoyed it, and I'll keep playing his music. So that's all I got for you guys, man. I know this one's a little bit longer, but hopefully this is some good information for you guys. Um, Hopefully you guys continue to like this type of information. You guys keep asking for it, so I'll give stuff like this. um just continue to follow me and interact with the videos. I appreciate the love and support. All my Patreon supporters, thank you. I appreciate all the feedback that you guys give me, and the discussions that we have. Same thing on the YouTube side, and people messaging me on Instagram. So it's been really cool building, making these videos and kind of building a following a little bit on YouTube. I want to, continue this and keep it growing. So, keep showing me love and support. Like my videos if you like them. If you dislike them, go ahead and throw the dislike too. I mean, just interact with the algorithms. It helps me out. Drop a comment in the comment section. Let me know what you think. If you want to see anything else similar to this, or if you want me to analyze other artists or anything of that nature, or even give an album critique, or maybe even critique your album and give you some input on something, or your music or your art, whatever the case may be. So, you know, you guys, I appreciate all the love and support. Continue to follow me. Follow me on all my social medias. It's Milan Makes Beats. If I got it, you'll find me. If I don't, you won't. That's really all I got for you guys today, man. I don't want to take any more of your Sunday up. So you guys enjoy yourself this Sunday. I appreciate the love and support. Peace.